Module 14 Constructivism Knowledge Construction or Concept Learning.
In this module, challenge yourself to attain these learning objectives. Number 1. Explain the role of constructivism in facilitating learning. Number 2. Describe strategies that promote knowledge construction. Number 3. Describing strategies to facilitate concept learning. First, let us discuss what is constructivism. Constructivism learning theory is a philosophy which enhances student logic and conceptual growth. The underlying concept within the constructivism learning theory is the role which experiences or connections with the adjoining atmosphere play in student education. To put it simply, it is about how students learn by connecting their experiences with what they are taught. It emphasizes how learners make their own sense of understanding by exploring and discovering rather than just memorizing facts. Here is a good example of constructivism. Views of constructivism. It is divided into two parts. First is the individual constructivism. It is also called as cognitive constructivism. It emphasizes individual internal construction of knowledge. It is largely based on Piaget's theory. Proponents of this type choose child-centered and discovered learning. They believe that learners should be allowed to discover principles through their own exploration rather than direct instruction by the teacher. Mainly, it is the idea that learners create their own understanding on their own. A good example of this is how they interact with things like painting or playing with building blocks. The second one is social constructivism. This emphasizes that knowledge exists in social contexts and is initially shared with others instead of being represented solely in the mind of an individual. It is based on Vygotsky's theory. Here, construction of knowledge is shared by two or more people. According to the social constructivist, the opportunity to interact and share among learners help to shape and refine their ideas. Knowledge construction becomes social, not individual. In short, knowledge is created through interactions. Learning is seen as a social process where people share and refine their ideas by talking and collaborating.
Hello, my name is Christine Joy and I will be discussing about the 4 characteristics of constructivism. So the first characteristic is learners construct meaning. Constructivists do not view learners as empty vessels to be filled up, but they see the learners as active thinkers who interpret new information based on what they already know. So the second characteristic is new learning depends on current understanding. In these characteristics, background information is very important because the new information that the learner has will be interpreted through present use or seen. So the third one is learning is facilitated through social interaction. They believe that in creating a community of learners within the classroom would help the learners to take responsibility for their own learning. Also, learners have a lot of opportunities to cooperate and collaborate to solve problems and discover things. Lastly, the fourth one, it is the meaningful learning occurs within the authentic learning task. Involves a learning activity that involves constructing knowledge and understanding. That is so akin to the knowledge and understanding needed when applied in the real world. Hello, it's me again and I will be discussing to you about the organizing knowledge. A concept is a way of grouping or categorizing objects or events in our mind. It includes a group of tasks such as model, discuss, illustrate, explain, assist, and etc. In order to establish a concept, we must first organize our knowledge and information. We can't just come up to a certain topic without knowing any background of it. After doing a research about the topic, the next thing that you do is to connect the ideas and familiarize it. For example, the teacher asks a student to draw a parallel circuit. First, you have to know what is a parallel circuit, and next is to identify the parts of it. And lastly, the students can now draw it successfully. It is important to organize our knowledge because it makes learning skills easier. Concept as feature list. There are two types of it. First is defining feature, and the second is the correlational feature. Defining feature is the characteristics present in all circumstances. For example, a triangle has 3 sides. Having a 3 side is a defining feature of a triangle, because all triangles should have 3 sides. The next one is the correlational feature, one that is present in many positive instances but not essential for concept membership. For example, a mother is loving, Being loving is a feature commonly present in the concept mother, but a mother may not be loving. So being loving is a correlational feature. Concept as prototypes. It is an idea or a visual image of a typical example. It is usually found form based on the positive instances that learners encounter most often. For example, think of a fruit that has a red color. What fruit did you visualize? Usually, people would think of apples instead of strawberries. Concepts as exemplars. It represents a variety of examples. It allows the learners to know that an example under a concept may have a variability. For example, a learner's concept of vegetable may include a wide variety of different examples like cauliflower, kangkong, cabbage, string beans, and etc. When the learner encounters a new type of vegetable like lettuce, he would look from the exemplars he knows and looks for the one that is similar, like cabbage. Making concept learning effective. As future teacher, you can help students learn concepts by doing the following. First, provide a clear definition of the concept. Second, make a defining features very concrete and prominent. Third, give a variety of positive instances like providing a positive examples for the topic. Fourth, provide opportunities for the learners to identify positive and negative instances. Fifth, ask learners to think of their own example of a concept, like provide them activity that would enhance their knowledge about the concept. Sixth, point out how concepts can be related to each other, like citing the similarities would enable the students to identify concept easier. The next one, it will be discussed by Mr. Artoge.
My name is Jimmy Artogi Jr. and I will discuss the making concept learning effective. So the first one is provide a clear definition of the concept. So example, the concept is a mental representation of a category or a general idea that helps us understand and organize the world around us. It is a way of grouping similar things together based on their defining features. The second one is make the defining features very concrete and prominent. The defining features of concept are specific characteristics that makes it different from other concepts. For example, if we're talking about the concept of dogs, some defining features would be that dogs have 4 legs and can bark. The third one is give a variety of positive instance. Positive instance of the concept dogs would include specific dogs such as golden retrievers, poodles, and German shepherds. These examples all have the defining features of a dog. The fourth one is give negative instance. Negative instance of the concept dogs would include animals that do not have the defining features of a dog such as cats or birds. So the fifth one, cite a best examples or a prototype. A best examples or prototype of the concept dogs could be a Labrador Retriever. It exhibits all the defining features of a dog and it's often considered the typical representation of what dog looks like. The sixth one is provide opportunity for learners to identify the positive and negative. To help learners identify positive and negative instance, they can be shown pictures of different animals and asked to categorize them as either example or non-examples of the concept dogs. Then the seventh one is ask learners to think of their own example of the concept. Learners can be also encouraged to think of their own examples of the concept. For instance, they can come up with different breeds of dogs or even think of fictional dogs from movies or books. The last one is point out how concepts can be related each other. So concepts can be related to each other by their defining features. For example, the concept of cats shares many features with a concept of dogs, such as having 4 and being domesticated, but they also have distinguishing features like different sounds they make and their physical appearance. I'm going to tackle about schemas and scripts. So schemas, these are mental representations of knowledge about objects, events, people, and situations. Schemas helps individuals make sense of new information by providing a framework for understanding and interpreting it. For example, a person may have a schema for a restaurant that includes expectations about the layout, menu, and typical behavior of patrons and staff. The second one is script. Scripts are a type of schema that specifically outline the sequence of events or actions that typically occur in a particular situation. They guide individuals' behavior by providing a set of expectations for how to act in a familiar context. For instance, a going to a restaurant script would include steps such as entering the restaurant, being seated, ordering food, eating, paying the bill, and leaving. Both schemas and scripts help individuals navigate their environment efficiently by reducing the need of constant decision making and allowing for quick interpretation of new information based on existing knowledge and structures. The last topic is applying constructivism and facilitating learning. Aim to make learners understand a few key ideas in a deep manner rather than taking up so many superficially. Give varied examples, provide opportunities for experimentation, provide lots of opportunity for equality interaction, have lots of hands-on activities, relate your topic to real-life situation. Do not spend on the explanation method all the time. And that's all. Thank you.